Hey guys, I'm Pascal from Orange Pixel and I had a fun idea for today's video. I've been browsing my project folder and going through some of the games I released, and I found a lot of stuff that I basically wasted a huge amount of time on. Games and features and small ideas that really never got released or added to a game or anything. And I'm just gonna show you a few of those things. Basically you can't play them or have them because they're not finished or released, and I wasted a lot of time on it. So when I wrote down the idea for this video, it was a lot less negative than it sounds right now, but let's start with Space Grunts. Okay, so Space Grunts is my roguelike turn-based tactical strategy game, which can be played like an arcade game. And it has a lot of levels, but the levels are all generated by the computer. Procedurally generated levels is what we call it, meaning I wrote code that builds a level. So I don't build the levels myself, the computer takes care of that based on all the numbers. But after the release I still wanted to add a few things, and one of the things I had in mind was a level editor where players could create their own level and share it with their friends. For this I needed a level editor, even though I never designed a level or never had a level editor while creating the game. The game has a level editor built completely into the game itself. So the level editor is fully functional. You can carve out the world and then you can place doors and you can add monsters at locations. You can add items to pick up. You can even change the look of the level depending on various worlds in the game. It's all working pretty well, and you can test run the level, so you can actually play it when you edit it. The only thing that didn't work was uploading it to Steam. I was working on that part. At some point I just figured this is not going to be interesting to anybody, so I never released it, even though I do think it's still an interesting thing to have in Space Grunts, and maybe I'll add it to Space Grunts 2. I put a lot of time in this level editor. As you can see, it looks pretty polished. So the level editor wasn't a full waste of time, because the code for this level editor is also running and powering the level templates I created for Meganoid, the reboot. And it's now also running in the new Gunslugs I'm working on, where I'm also building templates using the same editor, just slightly changed because there are other things you need in that game than you need for a turn-based game. But it's basically the same code, and I've been copying it from game to game here and there, so it's not completely a time waste. So another game I dug up for this is Heroes of Loot 2. The game is a fun little dungeon crawler, and it has a local cooperative mode for 2 players. You can play together with a buddy, and both of you have 2 characters, and you can roam the dungeons together. Of course, an idea for this is having it playable on the internet, which is something I've spent 2 or 3 weeks time on, trying to get it to work. I didn't get very far with it, which is mostly due to the lack of knowledge I have on multiplayer gaming. There's a lot of specific things you need to learn for that. I did get some things working and running around, but it was very hard, and I already figured out that it was going to take me a lot of time to get this up and running at a state that I really enjoyed it and would think it was releasable. So eventually I just quit this little side adventure of online cooperative play, and it never made it into the game. I learned a lot from it, but it was just not going anywhere and wasn't really usable in the end. Now, it's not just always an extra or missing features to a game. Sometimes it's just a bunch of content that I work on, either for the current game, an update, or a sequel to a game. In the case of Ashworld, I was working on a completely different area to the original area. The game takes place in a desert, and you're looking for water basically, because there's not a lot of water there. So I always figured there could be a second part to the story where you would move more to another area in the world, which would have all the water and not a lot of sand, for example. So I came up with a snow area, and I drew a lot of it already. The backgrounds and everything is already there. The hard part was coming up with a lot of missions and a lot of content for such an area. And it was also at the time that I was really tired of working on Ashworld. So I was already so fed up with working on Ashworld by that time that I just never finished it. It could still happen. It would probably be in an Ashworld sequel, so who knows. And finally, a more recent example is Questionnaire. After the game was released, I needed a little time to wind down and just do something completely different. I at that point saw somebody on YouTube play a live stream of Questionnaire, and everybody in the chat box was telling him which action to take. So he was waiting for everybody to give an action, and then he would do that what people told him to do. And I thought that was very interesting, and maybe I could do something with Twitch integration where the Twitch streamer could play like a dungeon master, making things happen in the game, and then the people in the chat box could give their command or at least vote on what to do in the game. I actually had this fully up and running. I did a few Twitch live streams, just 1 or 2 with a couple of people in the chat room. It's just a very slow process. I'm not really into Twitch streaming at all, which is all those things combined probably the reason this never got completed. For me, it just wasn't interesting to pursue it anymore, and I just wanted to put my time into other things. So it never got released, it never got fully completed, but it's all built into the Questionnaire game on the PC version. The code is all there still, so maybe in the future I'll activate it, or maybe I'll just use this knowledge for some of my other games, because I did figure out how to integrate Twitch into your game, so there's always some opportunity there. And that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these things never being released, or if you're a game developer, let me know if you have these things in your own game projects as well. I'm always interested in hearing other people's stories. And you know what to do. If you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe button, share the video, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!